What's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know what it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression podcast, brought to you by MSD Rocks, Rock and Roll Thrive. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is July 13th. Yeah, we're getting through July already. Holy crap. And we got returners coming back to the podcast, y'all, today. So right in the middle of the pandemic last year in August of 2020, I had this band from Sweden called Aldrovanda. Their episode kicked off the start of me doing 2 episodes a week. Yes, it was that episode that kicked it off, and I'm so happy to have them back because we talk about what they've been doing during this time in 2020, especially recording side of things. We go in depth with their latest song called Charade, but these band members are my friends. Literally, we became friends through these 2 podcasts, and it's just absolutely incredible to the point where I give them an idea, they give me an idea, and then we kind of combine the 2 of them in some way, and this is going to be absolutely epic. So you're going to want to find out all about this band, what they've been doing, find out all about their music, and then, of course, what's going to happen next because, oh man, this is such a fun episode. You're going to love this. Enough with me talking. Let's get into it. Are you ready? Let's go! Yeah! Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression podcast. One of my favorite things of all time is when I get to have a band on the podcast come back once again. And they were on the podcast back in August of 2020, and now, almost a year later, we are bringing it right back to you. So, all the way from Sweden, please look in the band, Aldrovanda. So, everybody, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be back.
Applause!
Yes, applause.
Thank you.
We'll do the whole entire round of applause thing and just clap in a circle. Should do that, but you know what? That's like basically back to me in first grade. So that's like 2001. It's 20 years ago. Lots changed since then. But oh well. I'll tell you that. How's everyone doing today? I mean, it's been like a year since I've seen you. This is awesome.
Yeah,
I know.
Great talking to you again, man. I mean, this is we're great. And
Yeah.
we're
No complaints here. It's like a throwback. It's
Finally, the weather in Sweden is good. So
Yeah.
that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Are we
It's
going
finally
to
summer.
start this off by talking about the weather?
Yeah, because
We
this
might.
is like the only day on the whole year in Sweden it's actually good weather.
Yeah.
So it's perfect.
Hey,
Only day.
I was gonna say after the past year that we had, I mean, if the weather's going to be a positive thing to start out on, why don't we just roll with that? Because I mean, both we're with Sweden and here in the U.S. right now, the weather is kind of nice, actually. You know,
Yeah.
we went through the whole entire winter, the whole entire plague thing where everyone was stuck inside already. It's just like, can we get the hell outside right now? And all of a sudden, it's just like, freedom, woo! And
Yeah, that's
People are
definitely the mode.
That's how I wake up this morning.
Freedom!
Or I would say, yeah.
just going all Mel Gibson and Braveheart, just coming out, walking inside, going,
Yes.
freedom.
exactly. I mean, we there's this old Swedish meme where like like a Swedish summer. That's the best day of the year, just because it's so short. So
And
we're
it's
in that.
So true, man.
It's so
Yeah.
true. And it's so sad.
Oh, shoot.
So it's a good thing we're inside and recording a podcast today.
Only good day.
Yeah, on the only good day, you're recording a podcast with me, and I gotta say, I feel rather special after that.
You
because
should.
You should.
You should.
I'm taking Swedish Summer the one day, and I'm getting it with you guys when normally you'd be outside, boozing it up, having a great time, and just enjoying the weather. Well, hopefully after this, it's not too late where you guys can go out and do that, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna do that anyway, no matter how late it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
24/7, man.
Yeah.
That's how we're now. Okay.
I was saying that's the
Never
way to roll.
stops.
It's true.
Never stop. Alrighty, so before we jump into it once again, for everyone that listened to the first podcast, they're going to remember you, but for everyone that's coming in now, because the listenership has definitely increased since the last time, we're going to go through a very similar thing we did the first time with 3 questions for each of you. Again, first, what is your name? Second, what do you do in the band Aldrovanda? And 3, the fun fact, the fun little story about yourself. But I know the stories from last time, so maybe something that happened since the last time we spoke. So a fun, crazy story, fun, crazy fact that happened during the whole entire pandemic, if you got one. So I'll just take it away.
And last time, Rebecca was quick to answer first.
I know,
So
so
this time
I
I'm going to answer before her. And
Yeah.
say, I'm Gustavo, I play guitar. Woo! And something about me is that I'm a shredder.
A shredder. Now, are we talking... So you're the main villain of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
Understandable. Now, I mean, now we know where to send them if they ever have to take you out. But I mean, I'm not sure if they're going to want to traverse the Atlantic Ocean to get over to you. Might be a little too cold for them once they get up north.
Just a little bit.
Huh?
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so that was my interaction. So
Okay,
Rebecca,
but
go-
faster.
Yeah.
Jeez, can woman speak?
No, no.
My name's Rebecca, and I play the lead guitar.
Ooh.
Oh.
So not true.
Fun fact about the band is that, plot twist, there isn't actually a lead guitar. There are 2 lead guitarists. Me and Sana.
Yeah, actually, I am doing all of it.
Shots
You're
fired.
I have a rough
Me
time.
and
That's our
Gustavo
biggest
both play the lead guitar, and
Yeah.
I
But
brought
I'm still a little bit better.
at doing some stuff.
Does it feel like a chance?
Wow.
The good
Oh,
thing with Jake is
I can't believe it took you that long to realize that little tidbit that he put in there.
Huh?
You can't believe it took you that long to realize the little tidbit you put in there. Like, yeah, I'm still a little better.
Yeah. But everybody knows that. So
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
At guitar, though, I'm the better one. So
There's also the reason why I'm David, by the way. I play drums. But there's a reason I play drums. It's because if I played guitar, they wouldn't have anything to do because I'm even better. So
Oh,
It continues.
Ooh, it just keeps rolling on. So, all right, we gotta wait for. No, we got the last one left, and I just got to see how you're gonna top this with all these different guitar stories. So, let's hear it.
Okay, well, I am Sana, and I am the lead everything. I am the band.
that's it.
That's a good one. So I mean, I don't let them play, let them argue. We all know.
Mm.
Yeah, we all
So
know.
I can just stop there.
It's like, alrighty, that's it. We know the lead. All right, thank you for your time. We're gonna let you go after that one. No, we're not gonna. That would not be fun. I mean, I'd rather talk to you guys for a little bit longer than that because, well, again, I haven't seen you in a year. This is fucking awesome. So, yeah, the last time we saw you was back in August of 2020 in the midst of the whole entire COVID-19 pandemic. We're about a year removed from it, and I got to ask, what have you been up to, especially during this time with everything still being, kind of locked down in a way, live shows still not happening up until recent, and a lot of shows starting to get announced, a lot more festivals starting to get announced once again. So what have you been doing during this time? Because I know you released a couple of new songs, but what else have you been up to?
I mean, yeah, we've been. I mean, we the thing is with when it comes to our music, we take our time to really like to make them as good as possible and to make them as special as possible. So a lot of our time has gone into producing and recording. And the thing is, yeah, we released a couple of songs, but I mean, we plan ahead. Honestly, we have one that's another song that is that is going to be released very soon, and another song after that is on the way, and then we have 10 songs after that we're working on. So we're busy.
Very fair enough, and I do understand that as well, especially during the time that we were in. Of course, live shows not really being able to be played. So, what is the best thing that you can do with your music? I know a lot of people that are pumping out a lot of music, but at times, if you're constantly pumping out something new, there might be a certain time where the quality might be missed because you're trying to get things out as quickly as possible. If you're taking your time to make sure that you produce it the way you want it to, make sure it sounds the way you exactly want it to, and if there is any kind of questions on there, already we have the time to really take a look at this and figure out if this is what we want, if we want to mess around with the sound and see if it works in a little bit of a different tone. But you might have just tried and mess around with it. It's like, no, what we had first is good to go. And at that point, then you made the right move. And you're not wondering back once you release. It's like, oh, should we have gone this route? Should we have gone this route? No, you tried everything. You tried making sure that any avenue that you thought you could have gone down had been gone down, and you picked the best one.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I had something else that I was going to say that was just, came in here and then flew out there. So anyone?
Yeah, but I mean, it's pretty much what we've been doing is making music, recording music. Like David said, we've been planning upcoming stuff like music videos and stuff like that. So we try to have something new as often as possible. But it's pretty much the same. I mean, that's what we've been doing. And as we mentioned in the beginning, the weather sucks in Sweden, so we can be in the studio.
Exactly. We can just record as much as we want.
Yeah. The thing is with us as a band in the point of time where we are, at least where we have been since we talked last, we've been, we've been working on actually getting a proper, musical catalog, which when we talked last time, I think we had released 4 songs?
Three.
4, something like that?
3.
Yeah. And so now we just released our 7th track like 2 weeks ago. And so, now we're getting to a point where, we have a catalog where we can actually show a little bit about what we're about,
Oh, absolutely. Because I was taking a look at the Spotify stuff right now. Because, there are 7 tracks on there right now. So if everyone is listening, you can go check that out. I remember the first time we talked, of course, one thing that a lot of people use as metrics when it comes to Spotify is the monthly listener count. And I remember the first time we talked, the monthly listener count was maybe like around like 100, 200 at the time. And as I'm looking at it, as I'm recording this right now, I've got to pull up another screen. You are like this close to 4,000. You're really close to 4,000. So with those extra songs and with that growing catalog, you're seeing the growth happen with the monthly listener count as well. So it is proving to be the right move.
We hope so.
Yeah, it seems so.
I mean, the numbers don't lie. If they did, then, well, that would be kind of scary because then all the math would be wrong. And then I'd be wondering what it was like out every single day when they told me the temperature. I'd walk outside. Oh, it's really nice outside. Walk outside. Next thing you know, I've got frostbite in my finger. Well, that didn't go right. Stupid numbers. But what are you going to do?
Yeah. All we learned in school was mathematics.
I'm sure it was fun.
Thanks. I'll show myself out.
No,
okay.
But to be honest, it's really because we have talked about that as well. It's we're really glad that the numbers going at the right direction.
Exactly. Not the opposite.
Yeah. So we really appreciate everyone who listens to our music and comment all our stuff. So we really appreciate you guys.
I'll say because it's always nice if all of a sudden, like in the numbers, you'd have this like complete blow up moment where all of a sudden you go from this smaller number to all of a sudden just completely just blow up out of nowhere and you get this massive amount. But then I have seen bands where all of a sudden it's like they come out with a song and all of a sudden first like 2 months, boom, it just goes massive. And then all of a sudden you see the Spotify listener count after those next couple months and it just starts to trickle back down to that normal spot. Because it's like, yeah, the song's popular for like a month or two, but then it's just the rest of the catalog didn't hold up. But then when you look at yours, it's just the growth is, though it's not as that like full blow up moment, it is there. It is still good and it is consistent. And I mean, if you're consistently able to build on that and retain the fans that you've already gotten, it's just going to end up becoming this larger and larger thing to the point where all of a sudden it's like the next time we'll talk, it'll be up to like maybe 30 or 40,000 out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden it'll be up to 400,000, then 4 million. Then all of a sudden I'll be wondering how the heck this band would want to talk to me. And they're up to 10 million monthly listeners. I don't know how, but I hope they still do.
Yeah, and we should make a deal that we once every year, even how the numbers goes, even if they're going up or down or stuff like that. We always have this podcast. Like you were there from the beginning, dude.
Yeah, you were our first podcast, man.
We should have that right away, man.
Yeah, we'll make that deal. I will wholeheartedly make that deal with you. If we do this once a year and I add you to the roster bands I have doing this once a year with, I am A-okay with that. I am totally happy with that because it's like, I think the list is up to like 4. Now it's up to 5. So, woo!
Woo! Hell yeah!
So I'm even happier about that right now. Let's go. Because all of a sudden this band's going to keep blowing up. And next thing you know, I'll be like, they're still on the podcast. Yeah! Just having a good time with it. And of course, and also we're going to come on these podcasts and start shooting the shit, having a good time. And people are wondering, why the heck don't I know more about this band? And be like, this is where you do it right here.
Exactly.
Man. Let's go for that.
Well, we absolutely will. So, of course, I know you guys have been recording stuff, but when it comes to live shows as well, especially now that things are starting to really open up, come back, seeing a lot more tours get announced, a lot more festivals get announced, is there anything in the works on your end right now, especially with the way that things are over in Europe? Because personally, I really don't know exactly everything that's going on over there. I kind of know more, of course, what's going on over here in the U.S., where all of a sudden once July hits, it's like, shit, we're going full force on this once again. And then once like August and September hit, it's like nothing ever happened.
The thing is, to be honest, I didn't. My brain exploded.
What? You didn't.
Yeah, I didn't hear the question.
I went too fast on that one.
Yeah, for me, but
okay.
But Sana can take over from here.
No. But basically, you wonder if we have planned any live gigs or anything like that.
Yeah.
Did I? No, we haven't really talked about it. It's slowly opening up here in Sweden, but I don't know.
But it's still not like how to say, you you're not allowed to have these live gigs. You
Not
hopefully
for so
with-
many people.
No, and
No.
you have to be outside and all that stuff.
Exactly.
And even
It's
if
all
outside,
these restrictions and rules surrounding it. So it's like, okay, we can have it, but for a small amount of people. And then we're rather focusing on recording more songs so we can do it.
I think like right now you're allowed to have like outside gigs for up to 8 people or something like that. So it's like, yeah, that's not going to happen for a while.
Yeah.
8 people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really weird. That's the thing, because like during this whole pandemic thing, gigs especially have been have been hit the worst. Whereas like restaurants and parties and stuff, like no, there you're allowed to have like a couple of more people. But then as soon as someone is playing a single note at a guitar or something, nope, then it's only a maximum 8 people. It's been really weird, and we're slowly opening up right now. Like we had changes in the restrictions from June 1st, and we're slowly getting there. But like all of the summer festivals here in Sweden have been canceled or pushed for next year. So yeah, that's like, because I've seen, as you mentioned, there have been loads of festivals being announced for like fall in America and stuff, but like in October it's around freezing, or like it's really just the weather is abysmal here. So yeah, no, that's not really going to happen. So hopefully maybe next year's festivals, that's what it's going to happen for us.
For next year. Yeah. So. Yeah.
So hopefully next year's festivals, but it does seem, I'm always curious to hear what it's like, especially as things reopen up, especially in different parts of the world, because here in the US, we're on the other side of the world completely from where you are. So there's a lot of differences that are going on. And I'm always curious to see, of course, what bands, especially over in Europe where you are, what each country has with their whole entire restrictions right now, how they're being lifted, and what's the plan going forward, because it seems like still things are kind of opening up in comparison to the US slower. But the fact that you said that, David, where all of a sudden there's different businesses like restaurants and like some other party venues where it's like, yeah, you can have a certain amount of people in there, but all of a sudden, like you said, once you put a live band on stage, it's like, no, we can't have that. And then, because even over here in the US, when in the height of it, like bars were still open at 50% capacity, maybe sometimes 25%. But then it's live music. I mean, here in Milwaukee, the big music venue that we had, the last show they had was on March 15th of 2020. And the first one they're having back is April 14th, when the Deftones tour from 2020 got rescheduled.
Nice. That's a good way to open, though.
Yeah.
It is a good way to open, and it'll be a fun way to open up that venue again, because, well, I get to go absolutely crazy seeing Deftones in Gojira, and I just get to finally just like bask in the glory once again. But I actually went to my first live show back, I think it might have been right before like the end of May. And it was, I gotta say, it felt great just being back in that setting where all of a sudden it's all the thoughts about, pandemic, COVID, kind of all the thoughts went out the window once again. It's people are just right up by the stage, having a good time. Everyone's got a beer in their hand and just kind of enjoying the music, and all of a sudden the band's playing a song called I Was Drunk, and everyone's got their arms around each other, like swaying back and forth, like singing along, and just thinking, though this ain't the mosh pit style that I wanted, this is still pretty damn good.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm so looking forward to gigs again, playing and seeing both.
Oh
yeah, but soon.
Yes,
soon. Because of course, by the time I think things will open up over by where you are, it'll definitely be colder where you can't really play those outside venues. So if they're going to be inside venues, are you going to be able to try and schedule some dates inside and work on that? Or is it going to be something where you're going to wait until next year right now and keep working on the music catalog so that when you're ready to go out and play a live show, you have a lot more material to work off of?
Like we have certain plans. We don't have any specific dates or anything to announce or anything, but we have we're talking with a couple of different venues and people and not promoters but people to set up a few different shows, and we're gonna do hopefully a couple of like streaming things is the plan. So yeah, we're getting there, and that's probably going to be during the late summer, early fall, probably. So we're hoping, and we're seeing inside gigs are starting to happen during around about that time. So hopefully during the fall, we're going to be able to open up and do maybe a couple of small ones, and then open up to bigger ones, hopefully beginning of next year, probably.
Yeah. So everything depends on the if we can do it or not. But for our health, it would be good to have a live show soon because I miss that so much. So hopefully this year, if we can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say absolutely, especially that thing for your health as well, because there's a certain thing when it comes to live shows, no matter what kind of music you like, whether it's what we like, rock and metal, all that kind of stuff, or if you're more of the alternative side, if you like hip hop and rap, pop music over here in America, if you like the country stuff, whatever it might be, if you like, EDM, house music. Yeah, it's getting to be back in that setting with all those people that positively connect with that kind of music. It makes you feel so much better. You can be having the worst day possible. You could be having just a horrible day, and all of a sudden there's a live show you want to go see. It's like, you know what? I'm going to go there, and you're going to leave, and everything that was bad about that day completely goes away. It no longer exists. And you're just
Unless the
happy
band
as all
sucks. I'm sorry.
But it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens when that opens up as well, especially for you getting on stage, because would that be your first full live performance then?
Yeah, still have not made a single live gig yet.
Yeah, and that's crazy. Like, just when we started, it was, like in the fall of 2019, we were like, oh yeah, the next year is going to be the year, and we're going to like go out on gigs, and then bam, nothing. And it sucks because we haven't played together yet.
It's not fair, man.
No.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
It sucks. It sucks.
It absolutely sucks.
Waiting for something good.
Let's just keep. I feel like we should start playing like Tom Petty's "Waiting," or no, yeah, just like the waiting is the hardest part, and just like have like a time lapse of what you've done over the past like almost year and a half. Just put this one video of you waiting to get to a live show. It's like, okay, we're waiting, and just like this full-on time lapse, and next thing you know, it's gonna be like shooting between all these different frames. All of a sudden, oh, this is what we did in August. This is what we did around Christmas. This is what we did for the New Year. Now this is summer of 2021, and we're still freaking waiting.
We've been waiting for too long.
Yeah.
Way too long. Way too
Someone
long.
please. I don't know. Yeah, but hopefully this year. Hopefully.
Yeah.
If
Hopefully.
we can do
at
it.
the end of the
As
Or we
season.
can go to United States and play over there, maybe.
Yeah, find a way to get over here, because
That
I mean,
would
once
be cool, man. That would be really cool. Yeah.
find a way to get over here,
I wouldn't
because
mind.
once July hits, pretty much it's fair game, because there's a festival happening about 3.5 hours drive away from me, west of me, and it's first big music festival that's happened since the pandemic hit, and I'm just like, do I want to go to this? Yes, I do, and I'm just ready to go and just see what all happens, because that's also kind of the test festival for everybody going forward, because it's like the first big one that anyone's having. So I'm like, okay, let's give this a shot, and I'm taking a look at lineup, and I'm like, okay, lineup, could it be better for my personal preference? Yes. Am I still gonna have fun as all hell being there? Honestly, when it comes to being like that first festival back, I don't give a crap who's playing. I don't care.
Exactly.
I just want to be back in that crowd. I just want to, if all of a sudden someone's playing something heavy and hard and fast, and there's a pit forming, it's going to be like a magnet. It's going to be like, I feel the force pulling me in. I feel it. And then next thing you know, I'm going to get like upended by somebody that weighs, like 275 pounds. I'm just going to be flat on my back, just like, dude, you good? Yeah, I'm good.
Worth it.
Yeah,
Worth
it.
Then I'll
That's part of
definitely,
it, isn't it?
honestly, if there's a way we can get you over to the United States, I mean, let's try and make it happen so you guys can finally play some live shows.
Let's do it.
Yes. And speaking of, like, what are restrictions looking like over in Milwaukee? Are there any restrictions or rules left for you guys?
As of June 1st, the mask mandate that we had got lifted. So as of right now, I think the only place that has restrictions in place is our Major League Baseball team, because they're still operating at 50% capacity. But at the end of June, they're going 100%. The Milwaukee Bucks are a pro basketball team because they're in the playoffs as we're shooting this. For the rest of the playoffs, they're full. So pretty much it's been much like a lot of the stuff is open up completely, but it seems like by July 1st, it's full go.
Cool.
Sounds great.
Damn.
Let's move to the United States.
Yeah,
Let's move.
What are we doing here?
So then go somewhere like go to Florida, because they never really fully shut down, and then you don't have to really deal with winter.
Oh,
sounds like the place to
winter.
be.
No.
I'll say
I mean,
down there they have advisories on the news for cold weather when it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So that'd be like what, 9 or 10 degrees Celsius maybe.
yeah,
Like they have
like
cold advisories for that.
That's like summer.
Yeah. Honestly,
Here,
that's like
day.
summer evenings are like that here. So
Exactly.
Fun fact
go there in
about
shorts.
Florida. When I was like 10 months or something, this small, I learned how to walk in Florida. That's a fun fact.
That is a fun fact. Now, that's a fun
That's
fact
a
right
fun
there.
fact, yeah.
That's a fun. Yeah.
When you were like 10 months, this what?
So your mother
It's a
were
symbolic show.
Oh,
Okay,
10 months, you said.
I'm pretty tall
Okay.
now, at least.
Yeah, he was
I grew
very,
up, man.
very small as a kid, but then
From
really
this to
grew
this.
up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, fuck, man.
what'd you say?
Gimli.
Oh my
I would say,
God,
I would say, if
that-
you move to Florida and you end up just working within like the whole entire, like all the summer stuff, they would think you're crazy, especially when it's like, oh, it's 50 degrees outside at night and you guys are just hanging out outside, just
Yeah.
t-shirts, or it's no big
Taking
deal.
a
Oh.
swim.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, I remember this.
Bathing suits.
Yeah, because I was in Florida in February of 2019 for my dad's 60th birthday, because him and I went to the big NASCAR race that was down there because it was on his 60th birthday. And in the
Oh.
morning, it was maybe in Fahrenheit 62 degrees, so like maybe 14-ish degrees Celsius. And I'm thinking, this is like nice outside, especially because I was just in, negative temperatures up here. So hell, I'm going to go for a run on the beach. Went out, no shirt, just shorts, shoes. I'm going. And as I'm
Yeah.
running down the beach, I'm seeing people like in winter coats, winter hats, I'm freezing. I'm just thinking, how are you cold in this? This makes no sense. I get to the end of my run, there's someone that's freezing. They're like, you're not from around here, are you? I'm like, clearly not. You can
Nope.
Can you tell that I'm not from around here? I was like, you can tell I don't have any kind of tan. I'm pasty as hell. I'm definitely not from here.
Okay.
Like I'm the kind of white that that they use to make paper from. So yeah, literally from my skin tone.
Ah.
So they're like, okay, we're gonna take a look at Dave's skin tone. Okay, that's the white we need. That's what we need.
Exactly.
Well, then I would say definitely
story.
have a lot of sunscreen on you, so then you don't go from white to red.
Yes, like literally, my dad once when we were out snorkeling, and I don't know, it was around I think the equator or something, and he was literally wearing like he had some kind of prescription like SPF 70 or something, plus a t-shirt, and he still got a little bit tan.
Damn.
Dang.
Like those are my genes. So the soulless ginger in beard gene.
Paper in the winter time and no tomato in summertime.
Una tomato.
Tomato.
Una tomata.
Yes.
As I know exactly what you mean, because the one time I was over in Europe in 2019, because I was in Croatia, and it was like, okay, I need sunscreen because it's gonna be summer. I'm gonna be literally in the middle of the Adriatic Sea. I'm gonna need something. They're like, oh yeah, we got sunscreen SPF 30. I'm thinking, this is nowhere gonna be enough for me. And all of a sudden, after the first day, I was just burnt to a crisp. So second day we were swimming, and everyone's wondering why is he wearing a shirt. I'm just like, because I don't want to get burnt any worse. It was getting that bad. I'm like, I can still do stuff, but I don't want to make
Barely.
it worse. And next thing you're seeing me like, hey, Kevin, you doing okay in the long sleeve shirt? I'm just like going around. I'm looking like a dog, just like, shit. Water.
I feel like that.
Oh, what is that?
Yeah.
Dying
I
man?
feel you.
Yeah, pretty much that kind of what it was like when they looked at me like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just gonna lay down here. If I don't make it, just tell somebody.
Oh, somebody, I love them.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, and all of a sudden people are looking around, what the hell was that? It's just all of a sudden you're gonna hear me just go, sunburn.
It's really
And then
good
that's it.
impressions.
Yeah, that was me last summer.
Oh man, last summer I pretty much spent the whole entire time stuck in here doing podcast stuff. I mean, of course, because everything was shut down, I couldn't really do anything else. It was like, what am I gonna do? All my friends like, yeah, we want to go out and see each other, but we can't go out to a bar or anything because most of that's still shut down, or they're only limiting like 10 people in the bar. And it's like, oh, we'll go over to this person's house. Well, no, one of them's got COVID now, so we can't do that. And it's like, okay, so what am I gonna do when all I'm doing is working a full-time job, and then what else am I going to do with all the music stuff? Well, let's just focus in entirely on that. Similar to what you guys did with focusing on your music, going into the studio. It was a time where it's, okay, we're going to take this time that we have, and instead of being, whining, complaining, and thinking, woe is me, if this didn't happen, this is what would have happened, kind of living retrospectively or living in our imaginations. It's, okay, this is what we're at right now. Everything's shut down. We can't play live shows. What can we do with this to build on our music? And you took that time to really focus in the studio, make the best quality tracks that you can, build the overall catalog, and to a point where, I mean, you've got 7 songs in there. And like I said, from the last time we spoke last year to this year, the growth, especially using that Spotify listenership as the marker, the growth is there. So it definitely was worth the while.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think that what's fun, or what to say, like with all the 7 songs, is that now we have like 7 complete different kinds of songs. Like now we have covered almost, not everything that we can do, of course, but a lot. And especially, I think it's funny with the latest song that we released, Charade, that we played a lot with different kind of elements, both with the song where both me and David like have screams and laughters in it, and when also David sings a lot at like the outro. But
and
also,
by the way, I don't want to interrupt, but I play lead guitar in that song.
I don't want to interrupt, but there actually isn't a solo in that song, so it doesn't make any sense that you would say that.
Okay, sorry. Go on.
well, it's okay that you say that because you're mostly focusing on the singing anyway, so you know.
I need a drink.
No, but what I also was going to say was that it's also nice because Charade is the first song that we are focusing on mental health, because the last songs that we have released are more or less about love in some way, but this is more about mental health and issues that you can go through, and that is something that we want to do more about. So like the upcoming song has a kind of like that theme in it as well. So we are kind of changing like route when it comes to what the songs are about as well. Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
I'll say fair enough, because that was definitely something I picked up on with Charade as well, because I remember a lot of the other songs, just taking a look at the meaning behind them, they had a lot more of this, more relationship, more love connection to them through the meaning. And that was one thing I was actually getting concerned of, especially after the previous single, because I'm thinking, this is like, the songs are still there, but with the overall meaning, at times I'm like, I just don't want to see them get put in this sort of box where it's like, okay, when they're going to write a song, we know what it's going to be about. It's just going to be, okay, what's a sound going to end up working with? Yeah, instead of just becoming less predictable. So when Charade came out and I was looking through the, like, trying to find the lyrics and trying to listen to the lyrics, like make sure I really found out everything. I'm like, okay, let's listen through this and really see if I can pick it out. And all of a sudden, as things are going through, once I hit to the chorus, I'm like, I think I got this, where I'm looking at it thinking it definitely had more of this mental health aspect where it's talking about, you know, we work to try and be liked by so many other people. It's like we just have this craving, like, okay, I want to be liked by this person. I want this person to accept me. I want society to like me and think I'm cool. But then we end up acting like somebody that we aren't, just to appease that person or those other people in society. It's a slippery slope of appeasement and a loss of self-acceptance. So we're living out this whole entire charade of a life instead of living the life that we actually want to live. We're living by other people's rules instead of our own. And the reason we're doing that is because we have this innate wanting of just being accepted by others when we should be accepted by the most important person in our lives, and that should be ourselves. So if we're going to be accepted by others but not ourselves, what's the point? We're not living like our life the way we should.
Yeah, and at the point, like when you are, you know, playing that charade for everyone just to appease everyone, you're actually, you know, you're doing the opposite. Like so you end up in a space where you're becoming more obnoxious rather than, you know, it becomes counterintuitive, really. And so that's definitely what, you know, that touches as well. It's an important thing that I feel should be talked about more.
Yeah,
honestly.
Definitely.
It absolutely should.
Yeah, because I don't know, unfortunately it feels like mental issues are still taboo in a way, that it's more common that people talk about their problems, but when you meet someone, like anyone, and then you talk about that, I'm feeling like a little bit down today, and then you maybe open up about that you have some issues, you just feel like that person will take a slow back away because maybe we shouldn't talk about that because everything's fine, okay? Everything is fine.
We're all good, I promise.
Exactly. And it's not. So we should talk about that. And if we can make a little change to that, like open up about these kind of problems, because it's not taboo. It's just as normal as I broke my foot. Oh, and I'm psycho. All right, nice. Like,
You are.
yeah.
I mean, I totally understand what you're talking about, because people are always saying when it comes to mental health, open up, do all this stuff, and just to do better for yourself, open up to the people that are around you. But it seems like there's a good amount of time where when people finally do that, it's the people that are around them somewhat judge them for it, or they either pull back, or what I've actually experienced beforehand was people using that information against you. So it's like you're opening up to them because you feel like you trust them in order to kind of, be yourself around them, and maybe tell them about your insecurities, tell them about problems that you're having, and ask for some help with it. And then all of a sudden they turn around and use that against you for their own personal gain. So that's where a lot of the problem comes in, where we see a lot of times where people are opening up about this and they're saying continually, oh, let's be more open about mental health. Let's take the stigma away from it. But then it's what you're saying, and then the actions that are coming forward with it aren't necessarily what's going forward. They don't match up. And one thing that I've done to kind of try and change that, especially, even through the podcast, is because a lot of bands, not just yourselves, but a lot of bands will always end up going in some sort of a mental health realm, because everyone goes through things with mental health. Everyone does. You guys, myself, anybody that's out there listening, any band that's out there making music, a lot of times there's themes that are within mental health, within personal trials and tribulations, and bands open up about that. And then when I look at it, it's like, yeah, I'm definitely more willing to talk about that, open up about how it, I can compare that as well and talk about things that affected me. And then it's something where, the more I end up talking about it, it's the more that information is out there. Yeah, it's kind of scary at times, but how can people use it against you if everyone knows it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And you sort of you lean into the curve and that, and sort of, start to own it. And it's the same, if you fuck up with something, if you embarrass yourself with something, don't act like, you're getting, you're embarrassed and that sucks. Just own it, and no one can use it against you. It's it's the same thing, really.
Oh, absolutely. Because especially with a lot of stuff I went through in 2017, where I'm like, okay, everything is going well at the start of the year, and at the end of the year was depression, suicidal tendencies, all that stuff happened. But if you asked me about this 3 years ago, I would be so scared to tell anybody. Now I talk about it all the time just because I'm not afraid of it. It is a part of what I went through. It is a part of myself. It is me. So why would I try and mask that in front of everybody? And when it comes to talking about music as well, one thing I like about doing that is because, especially if I'm connecting with something and people are listening, now I get to tell you something about myself, something about my story in terms of how I connected with it in terms of emotional and mental health aspect. Yours is going to be different because you've gone through different things. But when it comes down to the core emotion of what that song is talking about, the core meaning, that's where everything's going to be the same. So you're going to be able to boil that down to your core meaning and then expand it with your own personal touch on it as a listener. And then it's going to open up yourself to maybe realizing something about something you went through. Maybe it was something where looking at Charade as well, where back in 2017, it was okay, I graduated college and this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to live life. And after 3 months of working a full-time job, I looked at myself and said, have I been living a whole entire lie my whole entire life? Because literally sitting in a corporate job, 9 to 5, 8-hour days, and then coming home, watching TV, going to bed and doing it all over again. I'm like, is this life? Is this worth it? Is this living this very stereotypical life of that Cards Against Humanity card? That's go to college, get married, have some kids, buy some shit, retire, move to Florida and die. Is that something I want to do? Yeah, after 3 months of working in a corporate job, I said, no. And then the struggle to kind of come to terms with that, because I thought about that for the past 22 years of my life beforehand, and then having to figure out kind of who I was in that moment at the same time as well, that it almost took me out completely. It almost killed me, honestly. I almost killed myself over it, because it was just all the depression that kind of came over it and a lot of other things that were happening on top of it as well. But then, honestly, one of the biggest things that happened was I started listening to a shit ton more music. And now this is what, it all ended up kind of culminating in MSOTD Rocks, all with the Chord Progression podcast. Well, I do this because I love doing this. This is how I connect with myself, where it's all music, and it doesn't just work with the bands that I love, but every single band I talk to, because I'm finding different things in different songs and just really pulling them out for myself. And it's like, oh, I know what the band is talking about here, but then I always put my own personal touch on it when I'm listening to it, and it just makes the song so much more impactful, so much more powerful, and you learn so much more about yourself because of that.
Yeah, for sure. And like that's one of the beautiful things with music, and that's why I came into music, and I'm sure it's same with you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that becomes your own personal sort of therapy in a way. Not that, I mean, I know that at least for me, and I know a lot of people need therapy anyway, but that can become such an important thing for people. So yeah, that's definitely something that we want to talk about more, not just verbally, but musically as well. So that's definitely what we have on the horizon, lyrically and theoretically.
Oh, I heard that from Gustavo, like, you bring me the horizon. And that's what I was listening to all morning too, is along with Rise Again. So I'm just like, now you're reading my mind, sir. What the hell? But jumping back into Charade as well, what you're talking about with the message around mental health as well, it expands on what your band is going to be able to talk about going forward. It expands on the ability all of a sudden, okay, you want to go down this road and take a look at this aspect of life. You want to take a look at maybe something a little bit more punk rock, take on something more political, economical, maybe some social aspects in the world. It allows you to open yourself up and do a lot more of that instead of just being this more one-dimensional, okay, we're going to have to focus on talking about love because that's what we do. We don't want to end up having every single Aldrovanda song being on like some like compilation album. It's like love songs from Sweden. No, you don't want to do that. You want to have this expansive catalog that's going to end up covering so many things, that's also going to connect with so many different people on so many different levels because of everything everyone's gone through. Everyone goes through different things in love, with mental health, through life, different experiences, whatever it might be. And if you're going to be able to talk about those openly with your own experiences, put in your music, people are going to connect with that in many different ways for a positive.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's important, man.
Yeah, I mean, because life is more than love and love problems.
As the Beatles famously said. Life is
That's
more
why
than
they
that.
stopped playing.
Wise words.
Thank you.
Love
I'm
is
gonna
in fact
take you
not
that.
all you need.
Wise from Sana, where it's all you need is love by the Beatles, and she says, life isn't all about love problems.
Beatles was wrong all the time. What the
Which is the name of our next single, incidentally.
I was about to say, I've got a feeling now there's going to be some sort of thing where you're going to end up throwing the Beatles were wrong in some song just out of nowhere. People are going to be like, what were they wrong about? And it's like, all you need is love. No. Life is much more than love. There's so much. And not only that, but during the pandemic, we basically learned all of this because everything was basically taken away from us socially because everyone was locked down. Concerts went away. You couldn't really go out to the bars at all or anything like that. Now that everything's opening back up, it's great, but we also have to remember what we had done in 2020 because it makes life seem more valuable. It makes life seem more precious. That we shouldn't waste any moment that we have because at any given moment it can be taken away, whether it's via like a pandemic or even with death. It can be taken away at any moment. So really focusing on make the most of your own life the way you want to make the most of it. Again, Charade speaking to that as well. Don't live your life for someone else. Live your life for yourself.
Yeah, like that's what I'm just waiting for. I'm sure we talked about this like last year as well, but like I'm so looking forward to the point where restrictions are lifted enough and people have gotten vaccinated and everything, and we're just getting this total cultural and social revolution, and just everyone's just having sex on the streets and stuff. I'm so looking forward to that.
Do you remember Dirty Dave? Was his nickname?
Yeah, I remember Dirty Dave.
Yeah. This is why. Never mind.
Very nice. I like sex. It's nice.
I'll say if that's the case, can I just ask you just to make sure you cover yourself with a sheet because that can get kind of wacky at times. If you're gonna have just I get you want to do it, but like maybe in case there's a kid walking by, it's like okay they're doing that, but you're not have to actually see it.
I will make no such promise.
Dirty Dave would be like
Dirty Dave strikes again. I'll say Dirty Dave absolutely strikes again. And now we're going to jump into Charade a little bit more, especially from like more the instrumental vocal side, because we talked all about the meaning And that's always one thing I like to do because I love to see where the conversation falls in there. But also, we got to take a look at how this song is constructed as well, with it being your most recent single by the time we're recording this as well. Plus, there also is something that I was listening to beforehand with your song Life that I do want to bring up a little bit later because I noticed something about it that just made me think, oh my God, I've got a great idea for this. But I'll bring that up later because it's intense.
Oh, I want to know.
Or do you want to know now? Or should we wait until later? Because you know what? Screw it. I'm going to talk about it now. So when it comes to Life, I was listening to the pre-chorus on that song. So this is outside of Charade, everybody. This is on Life for everyone listening. So on Life, that pre-chorus, the way that it's built and sound of the way that your vocals sound on that, especially with, was that David on the vocals as well that kind of has like that longer part right beforehand, I think, on it.
Yeah. Like, it's time to see that thing.
Yeah. And then just like the quick burst of vocals from sound. For some reason with that tone, the first thing I could think of was, and I was listening today, I thought, why the hell is this not on like the next like intro song to a James Bond movie? Like the sound of the vocals, everything just fit in so perfect. I'm like, everything with a James Bond song, it's like, for a lot of times I'm feeling a lot more like grand or more drawn out and everything. Like, what happens if they get a little bit more of like this quicker style to it? I'm like, is there a vocal that could really hit it? I just listened to that. I just thought, holy shit, this is it. So whenever because I know they're coming out with No Time to Die, the following James Bond song or movie, if we can get you guys to write the song for it, I feel like it would be just perfect, especially with the tone, especially if you're hearing that pre-chorus on Life. I just thought, my God, this needs to be on the James Bond soundtrack. This needs to open up a James Bond movie.
Best idea ever.
Yeah. I mean,
if you pitch it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's be in James Bond. Okay.
Metro Goldwyn Mayer, we're waiting for the call.
Yeah. You know where to find us.
Well, instead of just having them, say, we're going to have you guys, we're going to wait for your call, we're just going to end up like pushing their buttons, be like, hey, check out this Aldrovanda band. Why? Hey, they're going to end up playing in the next James Bond movie. Hey, just keep telling them to do it. I mean, again, you guys have to listen to that pre-chorus because that will just sink you in of like, okay, we can pick up a faster paced James Bond song, but with that vocal set and just the way everything is constructed, especially between both Sound and David, I'm like, yeah, they're going to end up having to say yes to that. If they don't, then they are missing a gigantic opportunity.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right, it's settled.
Okay.
Done.
This fall.
I say that's when, and then you guys all have to go to like to that pitch meeting wearing the James Bond suits, sunglasses and everything, and walk in with a martini, shaken, not stirred.
Definitely.
They'd probably look and say, who the hell are these guys? But then it's like, well, they're the only ones that are super dedicated to this, so we're going to have to take them seriously.
We have to take them.
We have no choice.
Okay, so everyone do the James Bond move, and Kevin, you decide who is the best James Bond.
All right, let's see. Ooh, this is a tough one.
Is it? Is it really?
Yes, right. I mean, you know what? With that, John, I gotta go Gustavo. I gotta go. I gotta go you, man.
Boom, boom.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. This can be the Williams.
All right, I can be a villain. Fine. I'll do it.
Yeah. We got Dirk David as the villain. I mean, we're all set, ready to go. And then all of a sudden, there's gonna be some crazy out of nowhere villain that comes out of nowhere just to like top David. And all of a sudden, there's gonna be Sonic coming in like some helicopter, like I was doing this all along. And then all of a sudden, James Bond, he's gonna be stuck. He's not gonna know what to do because Sonic's gonna ready to kill him. And then all of a sudden, Bazooka's gonna blow up the helicopter. He comes back out in the shade, just saying, "I did it." Dun dun dun.
Twist.
Shredding a solo in the outro.
Yeah.
And then Rebecca comes in the picture and says something, and I'm saying like, no, I'm the lead guitarist.
We have a plot here.
Yeah.
We can write the next James Bond movie.
We should.
And write the song. Yeah.
And if they don't want to do it for the whole James Bond movie, literally this could be a music video you could make something.
Yeah.
Yes.
We pretty much have to now.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done with it. Let's do it.
If you do, can I make one request?
Okay, what?
That during the shooting of the video, there is a scene where some guy gets horribly shot in the face.
Yeah.
And the guy that gets horribly shot in the face is someone that comes from America over to Sweden just to film this one part, and that person is me.
Okay, Kevin.
Yes.
Yeah, we promise. We promise.
We got you.
Yes! I'm going back to Europe, everybody.
Oh,
No
that
more
would be
wait-
so cool.
No more wait until next year. We're doing it this year.
Hell yeah! This fall. Okay.
Yeah.
This fall, and all of a sudden in the trailer, I'm just going to be sitting there. I'm going to look up all of a sudden. One of you guys is going to point a gun at me, and all of a sudden. And then I just.
Cinema.
And then I honestly, after that music video get released, I should just take like a month off from the podcast and be like, wait, did they actually just kill Kevin? And you're like, well, did they?
Oh.
And then I come back for the first podcast, just have like, I need to know something that does special effects, to make it look like I got a giant hole in the side of my head.
Yes.
Please, let's do this.
Yeah.
Then you become a saint because you're holy.
Hey!
Oh. Oh dear Lord! I'm pretty sure if I did that, my grandma was still alive. She'd be like, "You're being sacrilegious, Kevin."
I
At that-
literally just like read Harry Potter, and that's the reason why that joke is in my head. I'm sorry, but also you're welcome, all Harry Potter fans.
There we go. All Harry Potter fans get a little bit of a Easter egg for them in this episode. That's going to be dropped at some point. I might even put that in the description. There's a little Harry Potter reference that happens somewhere in there. And a bigger reference, it's just going to be like, yeah, we talked about James Bond for like 10 minutes because it was worth it.
Oh.
But outside of the whole entire James Bond thing, I want to jump back into Charade because, of course, that being the most recent song. And I think it was like right when we set this podcast, like that's when it was released. I'm like, holy shit, I got to take a listen to this. And one thing that really kind of stood out to me was, especially instrumentally, we're starting out with the intro because it had this like deeper electronic feel that to build it. I'm like, this is a little interesting with the way the distortion felt. But then you get this more like rapid-ish, drawn back like pop punk and emo guitar feel. And ended up turning more of this like built out, especially with the drums, kind of how they built up with a more fast-paced style. I'm like, it was an interesting build, but I thought that tone of the guitar was the way to go because it plays off of the whole entire theme. You know, we're talking about different things with mental health and trying to be somebody that you're not in order to appease other people, especially with more of the emo culture in the world, especially from the music back, you know, like MCR back, you know, 2005, you know, I'm Not Okay, all that good kind of stuff. Like just the overall tone, it felt incredibly powerful to really use that in that guitar tone because it added to the feeling of rejecting yourself and trying to fight against that. So just from the outset, I mean, that was one thing that really drew me into the song from that, just based on that guitar tone and how it related to the theme overall.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, we did this, like, the song Charade is, like, that's definitely the song that's taken the longest from, you know, from start to finish. Like, I remember we recorded the drums, at least the first time, we re-recorded it once, but we recorded the drums pretty much simultaneously to, like, you know, Magnetized and not Life, but
Touch.
Right, Touch, and then Shadows Remain and stuff. So like we did all of those simultaneously, but then we worked on that song and sort of changed it up a lot during the way. But I remember also just tone-wise, because we knew from the start that this was going to be like a song that you're either going to love or hate, because it's just so different, you know? But I'm sure, at least, I mean, you can probably talk a bit more about like tone-wise, but that was definitely in the back of my mind, like having some of that like pop punk, you know, tone in the background, which, as you said, really brings forward and like a lot of that sort of emo nostalgia, which not becoming emo, but just, you know, that little touch of that, you know.
Oh, absolutely, because you're not going full emo on it at time and be like, okay, it's going to sound like something like MCR would have made, or like Simple Plan or Mayday Parade would have come out with, or something like that. But it's just bringing in that tone, especially with your style with Aldrovanda. It makes a lot of sense because that tone has this certain, I'm trying to think of the right word for it, this certain, I'm completely losing my mind on the word. Oh, has a certain connotation to it behind different issues with mental health because of the way that the emo culture was back, you know, I think back when it was prominent 2005, 2006, with all the songs and what they were talking about. So when you bring in that tone, it's going to end up having this certain trigger in your mind where it's like, okay, it's going to end up reminding me of these certain topics, these certain things in life. And when you're connecting with the theme that you did with on Charade, it just made total sense. It just, the connection was there, and it brings you into the song, and it doesn't make you feel like, especially the other songs really focusing more on love. It takes you out of any kind of that mentality right away.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for me, it's to be honest, the I don't know the English words to be specific about the sound, but I can't say anything else. That I agree with you, and I mean we play it it's much. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what the fuck I should say. But we play it like it's inspired by that like that stuff, like you said, and it's this octave stuff going on, and this this verse thing. It's like palm muted, and yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, man. That's the easy answer to this. But maybe the second guitar in the band can explain. Because she used to live in London, so I expect that you can use those words.
She can speak English.
Yeah, she can.
I'm just trying to think of something to say when you said that I was the lead guitar, and thank you. But in this, so there's no solo in the song, but we do use, and I think we've done that for every song that we've recorded, basically, like a baritone guitar, which is obviously tuned a lot lower, and a standard tuned guitar. And I'll let you guys decide which one is cooler, the baritone or
lead guitar
or the standard guitar. So I think that adds to like our Aldrovanda's sound picture as a whole, like the way we use guitar and actually play together.
Yeah, we do.
It's a teamwork thing.
Well, you know what they say, teamwork makes the dream work.
That is what they say.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
That's how we roll.
There we go. I knew that was going to come at some point. So yes, already. So even going further in the song as well, because the verses, they really did something I wasn't necessarily expecting, because you had this like faster paced style behind it as well. More rap, the emo style continues from the second half of the intro, and it wasn't anything like too crazy in terms of like this massive transition, but it's just the faster pace. I'm like, this is a little bit different than what I was expecting. Again, not the craziest thing, because it gives us more driving style, but the drums in the back do become a little bit more prominent to kind of create more of a consistent backing. I'm like, okay, this is rather, this is sitting pretty well with me. But the key was how are the vocals going to end up pulling this off and like continuing on with this? So now I let's scroll down to the vocals, because the vocals from Sana rather rapidly go along with the fast-paced emo guitars, but they kind of have this like quick burst, kind of like even like quick burst rap feel to them at the same time, which really threw me off at first. I'm like, I was not anywhere expecting this, but given the pace of the song at this part and the clarity in the vocals that you work with, it creates this great comparison, make both the guitars and vocals stand out completely with the backing drum, kind of keeping more of a consistent tone. So when it comes to, I know what you're talking about, when you're like, this song could either be, you're going to love it, you're going to hate it, just because of how different it is. From that outset, I'm like, this is definitely different than what you guys have done in the past. But my God, did this just work out from the outset. I'm like, this doesn't seem like it should make any sense. But you listen to it and like, this makes total sense. I don't know how to put it. It's like, it shouldn't make sense, but it absolutely makes sense. On paper, it's like, if you try and write this down on paper, it's like, yeah, this doesn't sound like it makes sense, Kevin. What the hell are you talking about? But when you listen to it, it's just, oh man, the guitar tone, the rapidness in the vocals, that consistent backing on the drums, it just keeps those guitars and those vocals out in the forefront, but it kind of keeps them all together as well, that consistent backing. So everything in that part of the song, especially the verses, has a purpose, and it all works out consistently well.
Yeah, that's very nice to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's one of the reasons why this took so long, just because there were so many things that were like, we need to try this, we got to try this, and then trying to piece that together to make them actually work together. And there were several times where we literally got stuck and like, what the hell are we going to do here?
How to move on from this? What kind of element are we going to add or take away? Like we knew kind of what we wanted to do, but not how we wanted to do it. And then I think there was one point where where Gustavo were like, well, try doing something like that. And I was like, dude, no, that's stupid. And then we no, but try it. And then we tried it, and it was like, all right, fine, that was awesome. Fine, let's do that.
And again, that speaks to the fact that you were able to take as much time in the studio as you were, because again, you're throwing all these different crazy ideas. Gustavo's throwing out a crazy idea. You're like, no, this ain't going to work. But why not give it a shot? If you have the time, work with it. Because if it doesn't work, what's the worst thing that happens if it doesn't work? You know that doesn't work, and you can try something else, or you can stick with what you originally had. But what if it actually works? Then you get this.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's production wise, sort of like, the what this song is or how it came about, honestly. But we're all super proud, and this just became its own beast, kind of.
In a way, it actually kind of did. But the best thing about it is, again, I think it actually speaks back to that little part that you just talked about, because there's an innate trust that you guys have to, okay, this doesn't seem like it should work out at all with the idea that Gustavo had, but screw it, we'll give it a shot. It might not seem like it worked, but you're trusting enough to the point where you come up with this idea, let's give it a shot to see what happens. And it's just that sort of trust that when you guys are continuing to make more music, when you guys get out on the road for the first time, and when it comes time to, okay, you're going to have this, get a record deal, you're going to have to put together this full-on album, and you're going to try different things. You never know, like, there's a gigantic studio where all of a sudden you can try all these wacky things, like, oh, hit this button, all of a sudden you're going to add this explosion sound into every single time you hit the snare drum. You never know what might happen. But it's like, okay, this might not work, but you have a trust, like, maybe you should give this idea a try, because maybe one of you are seeing something that the other isn't. But the fact that you're willing to try that speaks volumes.
Yeah, and that's something that we've honestly from the process of making that song have decided that, like, honestly, no ideas are bad. Just you gotta try it, and then sometimes you can realize that, okay, maybe this wasn't appropriate for this song or whatever. But always try and never just flat out say bad idea or whatever. Just you got to try it, and honestly, that's also good for us as people in the band, because that makes everyone feel validated and heard and included. So I really do feel that that's important and I hope that all bands do that, because it is important if you want longevity.
I'll say, I know not all bands do that, but the ones that do seem to have the more longevity behind them. I mean, hell, during a podcast, I ended up talking to a deathcore band into trying to put the recorder into one of their songs, like the recorder you play when you're like in grade school, like the hardcore. I talked them into putting that into a song. I don't know how I did it, and they just released their brand new EP like a couple weeks ago, so I'm like, I haven't had time to check it out yet, but I'm like, I gotta find that song that has the recorder in it.
That was amazing.
I will get to see him live in September, though, so I am hoping that all of a sudden, because I told him I'll be in the crowd for it, that during the song, I see the lead singer just pull out the recorder. I'm going to go nuts. I'll be like, I did that! Yeah!
Oh, man, that's awesome. That totally brings me back to, like, have you seen the YouTube channel that, like, does, what's it called, like Shit Flute or something? It just makes, like, shitty flute covers? Or I think it's a recorder, like a shitty recorder. It's the best thing that's ever happened.
Shit Flute.
Yeah, it's like it's like the most famous one is the Titanic thing.
Yes, that's what I was gonna bring up.
I love it. It's good flute.
It's so bad. It's so bad, but you can't stop listening because you're laughing so hard. It's horrible. The sound is god awful on that Titanic cover, but it's so funny. So even I thought, like, man, I should buy a recorder and just do that, because I can't play. I could not play any kind of, like, woodwind instrument or anything like that. So I'd be perfect for something like that.
Yeah, like you can take over Shit Flute whenever that guy, has to move on for something else.
Well, and with Shit Flute as well, they're always doing, more popular music, more hip hop, rap kind of stuff. But is anyone doing rock and metal? Can you imagine me trying to do a breakdown on a recorder?
It's just like,
I want to see that.
Oh, man. Yes.
You should.
Hun, you know what? After this, I'm going to go on Amazon.com and buy me a recorder. I'm going to start making that might be an extra little thing I do. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, every single Thursday, Kevin's got a brand new video of him trying to play a song on the recorder.
I will be your number one fan.
Yeah, we'll definitely follow you. Do it.
Oh my god, okay, I'm definitely doing that. I might just add it to MSOT Rocks, like, okay, every single Thursday, because I always do IGT videos Tuesday, live streams Wednesday, Thursday, shitty recording covers. Just ask me, what song do you guys want me to play today? And just see what happens. All of a sudden, if someone puts a Titanic theme and say, no, you can watch it on Shit Flute, I am not going to be able to beat that. I'm looking for rock, and no one's like, I'm going to try and come up with something real bad. All of a sudden, like, have Down with the Sickness going, all of a sudden just
Yeah, that's
like so you try to do the ahs on a recorder.
as long as you promise us to play Charade by Aldrovanda.
Aldrovanda?
Yeah.
That might have to be, you know, I'll say this, the first one I feel like is going to have to be one that's a lot popular, especially within the whole entire rock metal series. You kind of start bringing some people in, then all of a sudden the second or third one, okay, we're playing Straight by Aldrovanda. Why are you playing this one? Because on their podcast, this is where we came up with the idea. So go check them out because...
Dude, you will make us famous.
I'll say, go check them out because the song that they made that's real is good. My version sucks. But my version's supposed to suck. Their version's supposed to be good. And we both did exactly what we're supposed to do. Mind blown.
Love it.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, you know what? I got a better idea. Instead of just saying, you know, after this podcast, I'm gonna order a recorder. Why don't I just do it with you guys on here?
Yeah,
Do it. Oh my God, we're here for this. Okay.
This will be the second
move.
time I've ever bought something from a podcast. Okay, not record players. No, we don't want that. Recorder, instrument for kids.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got here. All right, I gotta find one that's let's see.
Just get literally the cheapest one you can find. The one like, you know, that's cheaper than you know, shipping.
All right. Oh, okay. I got one. I'll pull up the camera a little bit. So this is what we're looking at because I just don't want to change my screen. So we're looking at this, like a baby blue.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
That's
different
hard
colors.
part.
That's
Dark
so-
blue, black, like a rustic kind of pinkish. Whoa.
Christmas edition?
Christmas edition purple, bright red, silver, kind of see-through blue, see-through green, or that like baby blue one, or see-through red and see-through gold.
Oh,
I mean,
gold.
Kevin, you're gold in my eyes, so you should go with the golden one.
Of course, you're gonna go
Well,
with gold.
and the Rise Again shirt I have on right now is gold, so
Yeah.
you know what? Let's go gold. All right, where is it? You know, buy now. Why are we waiting? Buy now. Okay.
Hell yeah!
Put the password because that would be okay. Did it just work? All right. Nope. I'm not going to show that part because that has my address on there. That'd be bad.
Don't do that. Don't do
And
that.
my credit card information. The order has been placed.
We were there in the beginning.
Exactly. Okay, now I got to put this camera back up on top because that would be bad if I couldn't get this back up. All right, there we go.
There we go. Nice.
Alrighty. I knew that. I'm like, you know what? This will be this more epic if I buy this freaking recorder on here. So, oh boy. And it's supposed to come the Tuesday after we record this. So I'm going to start this the Thursday after we record this. Oh, Lord. This is going to be bad.
But now you have to.
But funny as all hell.
Yes.
Yes.
Love it.
Alrighty. So now enough with recorders and whatnot. Let's keep going through Charade as well. Because we went through the intro, went through the verses, but we got some pre-chorus stuff we got to talk about as well to get people into it. Because take a look at the pre-chorus. This was, again, it seemed like every part of the song, I'm like, this is not what I was expecting. Because the pre-chorus, you get this rather more long, drawn-out, kind of more melodic style to it. And the guitars that they kept this lower tone than they had in the verses. But they go more melodic and the drums focus on this heavier, more snare and crash cymbal kind of style to really bring that out. And I like the way you close out with the transfer, that more melodic feel, because it's like, okay, we're going to go into the chorus as well. And I love the way that this transfer is out, bringing forward that realization. But again, it's going to depend upon how the chorus is going to really pull this out because it's really connected to it. Now going to the vocals, because of course I'm not going to not put in the vocals in there. I thought she kept your vocals, again, more melodic to match the overall flow of the song and works the lower tone in the beginning, but cleans up the higher pitch to transition us into the chorus. And it is fitting, but the thing I love here is the whisper scream in the first pre-chorus, because I don't know why, it oddly fits so well to bring out more emotion in the song. And I honestly wish you guys would also done the second pre-chorus as well, because it just added this thing in the first pre-chorus that made me think, whoa,
Yeah.
I haven't heard that whisper scream in a long time. Wow, am I glad they put that in there.
The thing is, we want you to click on the replay. That's why we just have it in one verse. So.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it.
But yeah, thanks. Anyways.
That was something that really kind of like stuck out to me. I'm like, oh, this is definitely different. But then when I heard that whisper scream, I mean, because I'm going back to like some other certain metalcore bands and other metal bands that kind of brought in those like whisper screams as well. And it's like, whenever they bring him in, I love hearing him, but I was not expecting to hear it, especially after more that rapid kind of verse with the more like the honestly rap clean style vocals. And then you get this more melodic drawn out style. And then just hearing that put in there, it was this major piece that threw you off. But when it comes to the overall theme of the song, it works out so well because it's kind of like you're trying to, again, be this charade and put this other self out in front of you to other people to be accepted. And then that inner self inside of you is wanting to come out and wanting to be the one. But because it's constantly being kept back, it's like a whisper kind of scream. So it's like, get me out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're screaming from, like, it's the internal scream that only you can hear, but you're kind of like pushing it away because we're having the happy mask on right now.
Yeah, because that was like one of our like prime I should say like influences on what we wanted the song to feel like, and this was your idea, honestly. Like you know, the feeling of like just going crazy, and especially like, you know, the character name, the Harley Quinn, like, you know, from DC Comics, like that sort of character of just quickly going from one thing to another, sort of like borderline thing, and so and that definitely just went straight into that feeling. So that was one of those things where you know, we didn't quite know what to do, and then we tried that. It was like, this is exactly what we need because this is Harley Quinn, you know?
Yeah.
No, absolutely. It does give that feel of all of a sudden where you can turn on a dime at any given point.
Yeah, and you can't trust like who you're listening to. Like you can't trust Santa. You know, you can't, obviously.
Honestly, you can't.
But like, but exactly what you're saying, like something just suddenly changing, and some maybe like, so you're with someone who's just very nice and delightful, and then suddenly just, what the fuck are you doing? You just, you know, where this crazy person you're talking to, and you never know what you're gonna get.
That brings up a lot of memories there. That brings up a lot of memories. Because there was one time I was actually not the one in the receiving that. I actually was the one that had to do that because it was a ex-girlfriend that my brother had, and she just kept hanging around, and it's like he didn't say anything about it. So it was actually Christmas morning when I did this, and I was over at my parents' house. They were at church. I was making breakfast for everybody. My brother was asleep. She woke up. She's talking nice, and I'm just like kind of having a good conversation with her. And on a dime, I just was like, hey, why the fuck are you here?
Wow.
Like it was like someone had to say it. I was the only one that knew anything that was going on. So I'm like, if there's anyone that's gonna say anything, it's gonna be this guy. So I had to do it. And it was just like, hey, what the fuck are you doing here? Just that quick turn. So kind of when you're talking about that, like now I'm starting to get like all these different thoughts in my mind too. I'm like, my God, this song has more connection to me than I even thought it did before I talked to you guys. And I deep dove into this song. I listened to it like 10 times trying to figure this out. And I missed that part beat. Wow.
Yeah, because like we make onions, right? Layers.
Yeah. Layers.
We're like Shrek here.
Yes.
And ogres. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. We get it. We both have layers.
I've never seen that movie.
What?
Have you never seen Shrek?
No.
Never seen Shrek?
I've never seen Shrek. I've never seen Harry Potter. I've never seen all of those movies you talk about all the time.
We have a conversation.
But I have seen James Bond.
All right. I'll say this. Here's what you do. The next time, not during Sweden summer, but like when you get a day, you just kind of hang out. You get some nice liquor, some nice booze, and you watch Shrek. And you make Gustavo watch not just Shrek 1, but also Shrek 2, Shrek 3.
And 3 and 4?
Maybe 4. I mean, depends upon how he's feeling at that point, because you never know after 2 and 3. If you make a drinking game out of it, he might be gone after 2.
Yeah, I might have gone after 1.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like that's the funny thing, because I know you're not like a nerdy person like me or Saturn or whatever, but like Shrek is a movie that I very much think you would like. Even
I think so.
I might.
Anyway, this is a different conversation.
Different conversation. I'll say, but that's pretty much what happens during our conversations. We'll talk about a piece of the song, and all of a sudden it'll get taken to a completely different realm at the same time as well.
Love it.
That's why you gotta love these podcasts. So it's like, okay, we're talking this, and now we find out, you know, we're going to end up having this whole entire James Bond thing going on. I bought a recorder. I'm starting this whole entire thing because of you guys. And now we found out that Gustavo has never seen Shrek.
Yeah, since we did this impression of James Bond, can you all guys do impression of Shrek? And you decide who do it best? I don't know who that guy is, so it's it'd be interesting for me. That's good.
Donkey!
Okay, winner.
All right, now I got it. Okay, now it's my turn already. Let's hold the vocals.
Come on now.
Donkey!
That's good.
Yes.
I choose Kevin.
What are you doing in my swamp?
I have no idea.
Oh
You
man.
have to watch the movie.
Yeah.
I'll say if I win, watch the YouTube comments are just gonna rip me to shreds for that. Like, oh, you can't impersonate Shrek. I'll be like, yeah, that's okay. Whatever. I'm not trying to take the role in Shrek the musical or anything. Plus, I can't sing anyway, but I can do weird things like unless you want me to sing like that.
And we do.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm the king of the swamp.
You
Kinda
can't
like
play shitty flute though.
I can't play the shitty flute though, so
Yes.
we're good there. Alrighty, so enough with that again, because with the song, we talked intro, verse, pre-chorus. There's a chorus to this song that happens as well. So when we got to the chorus, again, what I was thinking we were going to get from that pre-chorus, we do get the payoff with the more melodic style instrumentals continuing. But again, it is also more drawn out with that melodic style. And they were kind of pulled back in volume in order to let Santa drive forward the vocal set. However, there was something that I really wasn't the biggest fan of on this. And I have to be honest with this. And it comes from an instrumental side on it. And it was particularly the way that the mix was done on the drum. Because the crash cymbal kept hitting like it was like once every other beat. And it kind of had this little bit more of this louder feel to it that kind of drowned out Sana's vocals at the same time as well. But and then going into Sana's vocals, I'm going to pull that in as well. The rather melodic out, the higher pitched vocals gets you to that realization moment with the theme of the song that you should be living life the way that you should be living it to yourself, not this charade style. And I love the tone because it's very fitting with that elegant quality to it. But again, it's just the way that the mix was done with the crash. It kind of drew it out a little bit. However, this isn't something that is like just particular to this song or you guys, where I've seen this on some other albums as well that have done really well. And where I kind of made the connection with that, where I'm like, this is still just as powerful. But if you like just the way the mix is, if you do this in a live setting, it could completely change the game as well. Was on the latest Evanescence album. Because I'm like, it was good with Evanescence. But it felt like for me, like the mix, especially with the vocals from Amy Lee, it was like, it just didn't have this full power. Like, but if you see it live, completely could change the game to make it be their whole entire best album ever with The Bitter Truth. And I was like looking through this and thinking through this, I'm like, it's kind of the same way here, especially with the way that that message is delivered with your vocals. So it kind of was just like, I always have to want to be honest with it, where I'm like, there's still a lot of substance there, but if there's one thing that was kind of like making me notice, like, okay, this could have been done maybe a little bit better in my opinion. Again, this is my opinion. Anyone else can have a different opinion. It was just the mix and that crash cymbal was a little bit too loud. That kind of pulled back the vocal volume a little bit.
Yeah, and that's that's when it comes to those kinds of mixed decisions, there are always things where you have to make decisions where something where you have to choose basically, and that's and that kind of thing is everywhere. There are so many things. Like there was one thing in one of my favorite songs in the latest Gojira album, Fortitude, which like I love that album and I love them, and there was just one thing in one song where it's just like where that was like a chord progression thing where they didn't go a certain way that I'd imagined, and that just I love that song. Just that thing just always annoys me. So like that thing is everywhere, and I totally get that. That's you can never appease everyone. That's something you're just gonna have to come to terms with as an artist, honestly.
Not as just an artist, but just as a person in general. Again, like I can throw it back to the whole entire thing as well, because, and the theme of this, holy shit, this comes even more full circle than I realized. My God. Because when, again, talking about living life for yourself and not living life to, just so that you're liked by others and you think you're cool by others, you're not going to make a decision that's going to appease everybody's vision. You have to make the decision that's best for yourself. When you're talking about that new Gojira album, it's like, this isn't an isolated instance. This happens to bands all the time. So it's a choice you have to make, because what happens if, I don't know what would happen if you would change the mix on that. It might just not have that same power behind it that it does right now. Anything could change. So of course we're listening. I always want to be honest with the way I'm saying it, but I always like to hear your take on it as well. It's like, okay, even if I'm a little critical of something, what was the idea behind it? And you're saying the same thing where, the mix could have been even different, but you never know where it could have gone off of, because at times you have to make those decisions. But with the majority of the song, especially with the way that intro comes in, then the verse, and then the pre-chorus, because it threw me off completely the way it went. But after listening, like everything just fit. When it doesn't seem like it should fit, it fit. So that's really where, you also get that style in the mix where it doesn't seem like it should work, but holy crap, does it work?
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Yeah, like.
Like that. Yeah. Okay.
And of course,
that's our happy noises.
Happy noises. Yes. And, I mean, I was also hoping for donkey as a happy noise from Shrek, and just to make Gustavo feel a little bit less, a little bit less on the joke. But of course, when it comes to Charade, everybody, I always like when I go through a song like this, I like to give this overall kind of consensus feel at the end of it. So I wrote it. Overall, when it comes to Aldrovanda, this one did take me back a bit. And because I do like their styles and their songs like Life and Magnetize, especially because they had a little bit faster feel to it, this one had a different feel, especially to start out faster and then work with more of this melodic backing to realize that the charade that you're living your life by is just that, and you're not living it for yourself. The driving force of vocals from Sana is really what stands out here for me, as the faster melodies and the verses allow that style to really be brought with more power, especially with the way the faster vocal set works. But then when you transition more in the melodic tone, you can see how Sana can really compare to the likes of Amy Lee and Sharon Denadel within Temptation, with more of a fun tone overall. Of course, I do have to bring it back where that crash cymbal mix I thought was a little bit much. But then again, you get to the bridge and the outro, you do also get this more dynamic feel from the band that also adds on top of it. And you can wonder yourself right now, why haven't you found out about Aldrovanda yet? Really, why haven't you? Because, like we said earlier, the first time on the podcast, they had monthly listener count just over 100 on Spotify. Now they're almost at 4,000 by the time we're recording this. By the time we record this again next time, it'll probably be hopefully 6 digits, hopefully at least 100,000. That's what I'm hoping for. So you want to know when you should get an Aldrovanda? You should have gotten on them before you listen to this podcast. But you know when the second best time to get into them is? Right now.
Now. Exactly.
I had to completely ad-lib that last because I'm like, I knew I wanted to drive with this, but how do I get this point across? I'm like, now that's what I want to do. When's the best time to get into them? Yesterday. When's the second best time to get into them? Now.
Exactly. And the third best?
Tomorrow.
Now.
Oh, okay, we'll go with that. Third best is, how about this? Third best is right after this podcast.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, that's acceptable. All right, fine.
Definitely. I'll say definitely acceptable, because then you get to, you get to close this podcast out with us, with Aldrovanda, and then you get to maybe hear one other crazy time or crazy story that happens. Hell, I might buy something else on Amazon that we come up with in the last like 5-10 minutes of this podcast. You never know what might happen. I mean, hell, I bought a recorder because we came up with they just came up with an idea, and I'm like, holy shit, let's roll with this. Next thing you know, probably again like the second or third song I do on the crappy flute thing, it might be Charade, might be live. You never know what I might come up with, but I will definitely be doing an Aldrovanda song. So if that time is up by the time this podcast comes up, again, MSOTD Rocks, you're going to find it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You're going to find the video of me doing some crappy cover of this on a recorder, but it's all because, well, then you're going to want to listen to the original and be like, how bad did Kevin actually screw this up?
No.
Kevin's crappy flute. Sounds good.
Oh my God, I'm going to have to get that thing. I'm going to have to get that thing like that etched in the flute. Kevin's crappy flute.
Yes.
Kevin's crappy flute.
I might start with Down with the Sickness so I can do the do-wah.
Oh, looking for it.
Oh my God, yes, please.
The problem might be is the first one I do, all of a sudden I'll try it, and then all of a sudden they'll get like the more the intro with Down with the Sickness. And I'm probably not gonna be able to make it to the second one because I'm gonna be laughing so hard after I get the first one. I'm gonna be like, no, this is done. But then that deathcore band is gonna be wondering why did it take me so long to buy a recorder after I mentioned it to them. They'll be like, well, I need to talk to Aldrovanda again. They need to give me the idea. They need to give me the inspiration behind this.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's what we're here for. We give people ideas.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's well,
Totally.
I'll say no that, but we shared ideas. I got the recorder. You got James Bond.
Yeah.
True.
Do.
Tit for tat or whatever.
Yeah, and we'll all come in a culmination when the James Bond video is actually run and somebody shoots me in the face in that video.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Of course. Yeah.
Can I be that someone who shoots you in the face?
I thought we were going to be James Bond.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm going to be a sponsor. But, yeah.
I guess I have to be James Bond then.
Why can't James Bond shoot?
But is it gonna make? But then you want me to be a bad guy or a good guy or just some random guy?
That's right.
It has to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
It'd have to be the bad guy that shoots me. So it'd have to be either be David or Sana, one of the two.
I think.
Hey.
I don't know. We decided to come over to.
Yeah, we'll figure it out because I know, of course, now hopefully by the beginning of the 2022 when that comes around, all the restrictions are lifted, any kind of travel restrictions are lifted because I've got my money saved in the bank. I am making my return to Europe sometime in 2022, so. And it ain't going to be a short trip either, because last time I was there for just a week. That can't happen.
Oh, no.
Because I had
you're gonna need like at least 8 days, at least.
My plan is for maybe 2.5 weeks.
Oh yeah, that's better for sure.
It's better, but all of a sudden it's gonna be one day. I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen today? Oh, I'm going to see this band. I'm going to hang out with these people. I'm going to see this band. Getting shot in the face by Aldrovanda. Wait, what? Yeah, that's happening. I'm gonna go drink here now. Wait, you said got shot in the face? Yeah. Just please don't use a real gun because I don't want to have it go all Fight Club and have me have a giant hole in the side of my cheek. That might be bad.
Okay, we're gonna write that down.
Don't worry. We don't have the Second Amendment here in Sweden, so we're good. We're good.
Okay. So they have to worry about that here. Unless you guys come over here and shoot the video, then we got a whole other problem on our hand.
That would be a problem.
That'd be a little bit of a problem. All right, so go. So now I got to add Sweden to my list now for places to visit. To make sure this happens.
Yeah, come by Stockholm. You're very welcome.
You have to, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very beautiful here. One day a year.
Yeah, make sure you come that day.
Yeah.
No, we have other days.
I'll put it, even if I don't come in that beautiful day of the year, I mean, I'm so used to just days where all of a sudden it's like, 40 degrees Fahrenheit, it's raining, it's cold, and I have to be outside for multiple hours in a day. It's just miserable. I'm used to that. I'm used to shoveling snow. I'm used to all of that stuff.
Oh, you will feel right at home here.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, hell, when I was in college, when it would be snowing outside or when it was cold, like, even in Fahrenheit, negative 20 degrees, everyone's getting on the bus to class or walking through the tunnel system. And then there's me outside on a bike in winter.
Aww.
And my sole purpose was it is faster. That was the only reason I did, is because it was faster.
And it was.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. I looked hysterical because it's like, okay, here I am biking. I got like 2 pairs of pants on. I got boots on. I got like a puffy jacket on and a sweatshirt underneath it. Got these big bulky gloves at my hands. Hat on. This like neck scarf that goes up to here, so all you can see is my eyes. But if you've ever biked when it's cold outside and then the air hits your eyes, it sucks. It absolutely sucks.
It's bad. Yeah.
Yes.
So I had to find a way to fix that. Ski goggles. Just big ones. Just. Oh, you could. It was if you knew who I was, you knew that was me coming down the road. But otherwise, if you had like any doubt, you would not know it was me because you could not see any visible part of my body. Like I was just flying.
Did you get a cool nickname or something like that, like Google Kevin?
Google
Kevin.
Google.
I pronounce.
I mean, I probably got some stupid nickname from some people, like, "Hey, look at that idiot." But no one ever came up with a cool nickname to my face because of that. There was actually one time I did walk into class though, and I walked because I was running late, and when I walked in, I still had not taken off the gloves, the hat, the scarf, the goggles. I think people thought I was gonna end up doing something like, why is this guy walking into class and what is he about to do? I'm like, no, I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn. So honestly, going over to Sweden at any time during the year would not faze me. It would be nice to have it be a nicer temperature outside, nicer weather, because then nicer time to shoot the video, and then afterwards I get to do the thing that I most look forward to from these podcasts as the promise that I always make. I get to fulfill that promise, which is, I'm pretty sure this is the second time I'm making this promise, so it's going to end up being now the first 2 rounds on me.
Yeah.
Woo!
Got a lot to live up to now, man.
Yeah.
You guys are going to kill my wallet, and I don't care.
You're so welcome, man.
We're happy to.
We're going to kill you from stage. So, I mean,
yeah, we're going to shoot you in the face.
You're going to murder me on stage. You're going to murder my wallet. You guys are just going to
We're going to get drunk with Kevin.
We're going to shoot Kevin.
We're going to shoot him, and then we're going to get drunk with him. Yeah! And then everyone's going to wonder, yeah, Ken, what'd you do when you went over to Europe? I got shot by a band and then I drank with them. And I paid for
Nice
it.
guys.
It was awesome.
Of course you did.
Oh god, yeah, that's gonna be a whole. That might make. Then after that trip, I might have to make a whole entire YouTube video. It's like, okay, what did you do on this trip, Kevin? Well, I did this. Here's a little video of me getting shot in the face. Here's us drinking afterwards. Why? Because it's good, it's funny, and I like hanging out with these people. What happened the next day? Man, we did it again. We just felt like drinking again. We just went after it.
Can I joke you again?
All of a sudden, all right, here's my financial statement after the trip. Boom! All of a sudden, Kevin, you lost a lot of money, but it was worth it.
We did have fun.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'll put it this way. Give it if after that trip, give it another 5-6 years. I'm not gonna remember the money I spent. I remember the time that I had.
Yeah, the money.
And the hole in your head.
And the hole in my head. That'll be the thing that we remember. So as we bring this podcast to conclusion, my friends from Aldrovanda, I want to thank you once again. And this is the time where anything you want to say, plug wherever you want to plug. Now is the time to do it. So the floor is yours.
Now we have to say something smart.
Yes.
Something smart.
Something smart now.
Don't forget to listen to Kevin's crappy flute.
Yeah!
Coming out soon.
And don't forget to listen to Aldrovanda as well.
Yeah.
We're
Just
on
relate up there.
we're on all the platforms. We're on Spotify. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Just search for Aldrovanda. We're usually Aldrovanda Official or Aldrovanda Band on Twitter.
TikTok.
And TikTok recently. Yeah. So take a listen and enjoy.
Hope you like it. And stay tuned for more.
And we'll see you live, hopefully soon in the future.
Hopefully soon in the future is the correct response. And everyone listen to the podcast, and you guys know this. When it comes to finding Aldrovanda online, you guys just heard where to find them. I'm going to make it as easy as possible for you. Take a look at the description of the podcast, YouTube, Spotify podcast, iHeart Radio. You're going to see Find Aldrovanda online. All the links are going to be there for you. So when it comes to streaming their music, following along with them, and just enjoying whatever they put out, keeping tabs on them. And when they announce live shows where you can see them, you're going to want to follow all those. So make it as easy as possible, along with everything from MSOT Rocks and the Chord Progression podcast can be down there as well. And Kevin's crappy flute, because, well, it's just going to be on our Instagram page to start out maybe. And then we're going to roll it out Facebook. We're going to put it on all those places because it's just fun as hell.
Yes.
So you're going to be able to check that out as well. And I always come up with the second last thing is usually the first round on me thing, but I already did that. So you guys know when I get the chance to come and see you guys live for the first time, take part in that video. Or even if you guys aren't playing live, then not playing, doing that video thing, I'm still going to come over and first 2 rounds are on me. That's the way it's going to be.
Woo!
Looking forward to that.
Yes.
So am I. So thank you once again for being on the podcast. And it looks like, honestly, it might be see you next year, because we'll either do this or I'll be over by you guys and we'll actually get to take part in this whole entire drinking barrage we have planned.
Nice.
Hell
Looking
yeah.
forward to it.
So on that note, my friends from Aldrovanda, I cannot say goodbye. I have to say, see you later.
See you later.
Yeah.
Whoa, folks, that was my interview with Sanna, Rebecca, David, and Gustavo from the band Aldrovanda, my friends over there in Sweden. God, these people are great. And yes, by the time this podcast comes out, the Kevin's Crappy Flute series will be a full go. I cannot wait for you guys to find out how it came to be on this podcast like you just did, and then go and check out and see how this thing is going to grow, because every single Thursday, a brand new Kevin's Crappy Flute video will be coming out. And I cannot wait for more Aldrovanda music. I can't wait to see what they come up with, and man, I hope that James Bond thing really works out, because man, their sound could easily fit for that movie. Any movie they come up with James Bond, but we make that music video. This is what I'm looking forward to most. I cannot wait to meet these people in person. I cannot wait to hang out with them in their home country of Sweden. And I cannot wait for them to potentially blow all my money by having me buy them drinks. But again, a couple years down the road after that time, I'm not going to remember the money I spent. I remember the great time I had. And that is what's going to be important in that one. So please, please, please remember to follow along with Aldrovanda, stream their music. All the links for Aldrovanda are in the description of the podcast below, along with everything with the MSOD Rocks and the Chord Progression podcast. Again, the Kevin's Crappy Flute videos are going to be on all the MSOD Rock stuff. Chord Progression podcast, you can find that on those platforms as well in terms of where to what's coming out, all the promo videos and stuff like that. But of course, if you're subscribed to the podcast, Spotify podcast, iHeart Radio, or subscribe to the MSOD Rocks YouTube channel with the Chord Progression podcast on it. I want to say thank you. If you're not, please do, for enjoying more of these episodes. And on that note, that's going to be for me today, guys. Thank you for watching and listening to the Chord Progression podcast. But to rock, and I'll thrive. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single episode with a big, healthy, and hearty see